All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. We have, I think, an interesting experiment tonight. It should help us with. Why is Stream Element still saying the old stream title? That's odd. Hold on, let me check. Oh, Ezra Denny, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. I was just looking at the title of the stream, at least the one that. Okay, all right. It looks like it's showing the right title now. In the chat, Stream Elements put the old title. I here's what happened. I started the stream, realized the title hadn't been updated, stopped the stream, renamed it, and then put the stream back up. But it might have thrown off Stream Elements. But Ezra, thank you for the raid. As always, I enjoyed your stream, especially the seventh inning stretch. Yeah, I didn't know the Johnny Lamaster. So actually, I did know it. Once you started it, I remembered it. I had never seen any video of it or pictures of it, but I had heard of it about him changing the uniform, the name on the back of his uniform to Boo, because everyone would boo him even at home. Uh, and of course, that then reminded me of the I'm drawing a blank on his name, even though I'm the one who said it in your stream. Andy Messersmith, who Ted Turner convinced to wear the last name Channel over his uniform number 17 to promote the Turner uh the Turner broadcasting system, I think, right? TBS. Um so the Turner headquarters, I don't know if it's still there. It used to be right down the street from Georgia Tech, where I went to undergrad. And they always had, let me see, it was the James Bond marathon, and there was another marathon kind of like it. What was it? Anyway, these two marathons always happened during our finals week. And we were convinced that they knew it was finals down the street at Georgia Tech and were just messing with us. Although that's probably not true. We thought it was funny, the timing. Cacking Santa, skateboarding Santa, welcome in. Yes, I am doing this experiment selfishly because I want to know what to do in 1963 as well. I have I my usual 6 teams in the PTCS, 2 iron, 2 bronze, and 2 silver, that mostly made it in the strength of live tournaments and now combo cap tournaments. And there's Stream Elements with the correct title now. Okay. um, and so yeah, I need every advantage I can get because I don't have the combinator cards. Yes, Claydog, I did not wait till the last night to build my rosters. That's right. So I'm going to do the test tonight. Well, actually, no, it is going to end up being that way though. I'm going to build my rosters tomorrow night. Um, but I wanted to do this experiment. Oh no, yeah, last night I think I did the experiment for a stream, and then I build my rosters. Or no, did I build my rosters during the stream? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to leave it till the last minute this time, or so I say. So the good thing is we just did this experiment with 1984 because I wanted to give people a sense of what does it look like. Oh, and I think we're in ads, so let me pause for ads. Let me just pause here.
Why do you keep following me around? Look.
All right, looks like we're back from ads. Clay Dog is wondering who else is in PTCS, so to know who to root for. Clay Dog, you're in PTCS, right? I thought. Uh, looks like we had a follower during the ad break. Roche, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. We do all kinds of experiments and simulations in the base game here. Oh, and we do. I have a bunch of games that we play in the base game that I've opened to the community, so you can redeem channel points to play. In fact, we have I think Delhi Sports is playing tomorrow. Yeah, Delhi Sports is playing tomorrow, and then Flying WV is playing on Saturday. And Flying WV is trying out the first community member to play Dead Ball, create a roster. I've tested it a few times on stream, but Flying WV is going to play. So you know what? Flying WV is going to own the leaderboard for as long as it takes for someone else to play. So that'll be fun. So a couple of channel point redemptions. And actually, I should thank Delhi Sports for letting me postpone their creator roster till tomorrow so that I could do this in a timely manner tonight. So the good thing is we just did this as 84 for the season run environment of 80s week. And so everything is going to be based off of that. It went pretty well. The one change I'm going to make is we all know that gap is pretty useless relative to contact, power, and eye. I do think that there's a pretty open question around which is more important for contact, BABIP or avoid K. And I have heard streamers saying on stream that they're more and more concerned about avoid K, which makes sense because now there are more pitchers with stuff than there were at the beginning of the cycle. So I think we're going to drop gap power because I think we all understand it takes a backseat to these other attributes. And I think we'll do two versions of gap. We'll do 550 gap that's based mostly on BABIP and a 550 gap that's based mostly on avoid K. And I was going to say, we all know that power is the most important. It's the most important in 2023. I should reserve my judgment. There's nothing that says it's going to hold true in 1963. We will get to the 10-pack giveaway form. For those of you who might be new to the stream, we do a 10-pack giveaway every night. We try to guess the outcome of whatever simulation or stream or experiment or simulation or game or experiment we're playing that night. So tonight, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions in the form to ask you to predict the outcome of this 1963 test. And I'll explain the whole test and everything to you. The explanation is also in the form. Uh, and I usually do that up front because you do not have to be present to win. I want everyone to have a chance. The more, the merrier. But before we start that, I wanted to show you something. I don't know if you all have noticed, but every time I do a stream on the title slide, I usually have a picture or a few pictures in the background of the title slide. And they're always relevant to the topic. And I wanted to briefly mention the image I found for this 1963 run environment test is this. The source is the Hispanic Heritage. Um, you know what? I left out the rest of the title. It's the Hispanic Heritage Baseball Museum Hall of Fame. Let me edit that right now, actually. And it was from an article about the 1963 Latino All Star Game. I had never heard of this game, and I'm a pretty big baseball history buff. And apparently, it was only played 1 year. So I'm going to do a lot more research on this. I just found out about this tonight, and um, it sounds like a really cool game. I want to learn more about it, and I'd like to do a sim based on it too. Maybe like we'll get the players who are in the game, find the rosters, and then we'll pick their peak seasons, and maybe bring all the peak versions of those players from the All-Star game and maybe put them in like 2023 or maybe play them in the 1963 run environment to see how they would have done. Anyway, I think it's a cool event. I'd like to know more about it, and then I'd like to share it on the stream. But in the meantime, this picture was so cool that I wanted to highlight it. Usually, I just kind of gloss over the title slide, but I thought this was worth sharing. And I also thought um, that Ezra Denny might appreciate it too, because there is a giant in the image. Yeah, Clay Dog, I thought so too. As soon as I saw this image, I was like, I mean, first of all, to me at least, not having lived through 1963, I felt like it evoked the era, or at least what I know of the era. Um, but I also thought Ezra might appreciate that there's a giant on the page, and I'm assuming that's Felipe Alou. Um, but I could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, Giants of the Sports, yes, yes, for sure. Um, but I also like it's interesting that it was only played one time, but I also think it's interesting that it was played at all. It's very cool. So I'll report back when I know more about it. I'm looking forward to. This is the kind of thing I can really get into, and I often will go down like a rabbit hole. Um, and so I want to make sure I don't do that on the stream because I do want to give you your packs and everything. So let's look at the 10 pack giveaway form. I always edit it in stream. That gives you a little more time to process the questions and a better chance to win the packs, I hope. Okay, so what I did was I copied the one from last night, which was a 1984 test environment. So I still have to do some edits here. So, for example, it still says here 1984. We're going to test the 1963 environment. Um, so what we've created is a league that's completely average and completely identical. All the players, all the pitchers and batters, starting pitchers, relievers, and batters are all supposed to be identical to each other. We've gone into editor and done as much as we can to make that the case. The league is divided up into sub-leagues, the AL and the NL, the average league and the neutral league. And each of those is 4 teams. And they don't have interleague play. So we can get 2 separate experiments in one season. Now, normally we double up. We have the AL set up just like the NL, and we get basically 2 experiments in one. We mash the data together to increase the sample size. But I found that in most of those experiments, especially since we got better at analyzing the results of those and interpreting the results of those experiments, that there's usually not much significant difference between the two. So, and because these, PTCS environment changes and stuff and theme weeks happen pretty often, I thought it'd be better to try to do like a quick and dirty one experiment test. And so that's what we're going to do. We did it worked well for 84. We're going to test again in 63. And yeah, so what we do is each team has either all the pitchers on their pitching staff, all the batters on their lineup get one attribute boosted to 550, which is the maximum. And it's kind of cartoonish, but that's what we're going for. It makes it more fun. It also probably obscures some insights that we could get with a more nuanced approach, but it also makes it crystal clear when something's really working or not working. So team stuff has their stuff raised to 550, and we get that through increasing the velocity and increasing the ratings of some pitches until it comes to 550. PBABIP is the only attribute that the maximum is still 250, so we just raise it to 250. Raw movement essentially translates to home run suppression, 550, and control we set to 550. Now, the batting side, I'm changing this, as I mentioned earlier. So instead of just having a team contact, we're actually going to have team BABIP, and that is BABIP equals 550 and avoid K increased until contact equals 550. right? So Team BABIP does have 550 contact, but it's mostly there through BABIP. Hey, Delhi Sports, welcome in. We are just talking about how you're going to play creator roster tomorrow. And you're playing low ball, right, Delhi Sports? I think you're playing low ball tomorrow. And Team Avoid K is Avoid K equals 550 and BABIP increased until contact equals 550. This is because this gap one is kind of useless. It always comes in last place. And there's a good reason why, right? Uh, All it does is it enhances the value of base hits that you're already getting through contact. As a standalone value add, it's not very big. Uh, Even in dead ball. In dead ball, we showed through experiments that contact is by far more important, and power is still more important than gap. Just because gap is almost like an add-on. Um, but there are still people who emphasize gap when it comes to dead ball, which is fine. I just wouldn't emphasize it ahead of contact or eye or power. Like it's a nice to have to me. But people think differently about the game, and that's fine. I appreciate that. But I base my kind of decisions and judgments on the experiments we do, and also I do follow the streamers who do the modeling. Right, I think they have lots of valuable insights. But the point is, they're supported by data. Ours is supported by experimental data. I don't know that's the case with everybody who's espousing different theories on what to do, and so I always prefer to go to sources that have some sort of backing with data. So basically, there's two flavors of contact now in the experiment, and then there's power, and then there's eye. Now, I'm not giving away any secrets when I tell you in 2023, power trumps everything, and it's partly because power is home runs, and home runs have a huge impact on the game. The other is every home run is an additional base hit that's not accounted for in the contact ratings of that player. And so if you boost someone's power, they get more home runs and more base hits as well, and it increases their average. And so you kind of get like this double dipping effect. Um, a big thing, maybe if you're new to our stream, is that for tiebreakers, we do not play prices right rules. It's whoever's closest. And if we're still tied up to the final tiebreaker, the prizes will be split evenly. It's 7 packs to first place, 3 packs to second place. But when you see the number of quantitative questions we have at the end now, I would be very shocked if we have if we have a tiebreaker go all the way to the end. Um, okay. So the first field is your OTP login. We need that. It's case sensitive, and we need that to get you your packs if you win. So please be careful when you type that in. The second is just your Twitch username. It doesn't have to be anything. There's no rules to it. It's just how I'll be referring to you and knowing who's winning in the stream. Okay. Now, one of the things that we decided was for the pitching attributes and the batting attributes, there are different statistics that we can use to determine their effectiveness. Now, for pitching, I'm a big fan of whip. Where whip is deficient, though, is you can have a low whip and give up a lot of home runs, and your ERA will suck. And so, to capture that, I do think ERA is helpful. The reason I don't like ERA for individual pitchers is it's so impacted by what other people do, including the pitchers who come in after you, especially if you leave during an inning and you have runners on base. But this is a team ERA, so it's less susceptible to that. So I'm fine with using ERA. So of the pitching teams, which pitching team will have the lowest team ERA? Right? Team stuff, PBABIP, movement, or control. And then which will have the second lowest? I'm asking first and second because for some of these questions, especially the batting attributes, there's general consensus that power is going to be number one. Now, in 1963, that might be different. In dead ball, that might be different. But I'm still going to ask first and second because I think it'll help separate the field. Okay, and then for batting, I'm using runs scored. I think OPS is the best measure, but we're I think we're trying to figure within the run environment what's going to generate the most runs. I think basically like which attributes will generate the most offense, and I think ultimately runs is what matters for offense. So we're going to use runs scored for the team. Again, for individuals, I would assess them by OPS. But for the team, and again, everyone on the team is getting this attribute boosted, so I feel safe doing that. So which batting team will have the most run scores, and which batting team will have the second most run scored? Now we'll get to the numericals. This is where it gets kind of fun. Of the pitching teams, right? What will be the ERA of the team of what will be the team ERA? And there was some question last night, so we'll say of the boosted pitching team with the lowest best ERA. And what will be the team ERA of the pitching team with the highest or worst ERA? I think the question was like you could have a batting team with a terrible ERA because they're facing boosted batting teams. So this is just within the pitching league. Okay, how many runs will be scored by the batting team? And I'll say the boosted batting team with the most runs scored. And how many home runs will be hit by the league leader in home runs? And that will most likely come from a batting team. So that's it. Those are the questions. I will I will open the form. Please note that I opened the form without Max having to tell me to do it. And let's get a URL that I will put in the chat. And please do feel free to answer and run if you have to. You will still get your packs. Link to form for tonight's 10-pack giveaway. Oh, in addition to the giveaway, you're also getting drops. Uh, all right. Good luck, everybody. All right. So let me pull up the base game. Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. I was thinking about what was I going to do? There was something I was thinking about today. Oh, yeah. It was in this. Oh, hold on. This was cool. Let me put it up on screen in a second here. There it is. Kayaking Santa sent me a screenshot of this. I'll put up my view of it here as it loads up. So this was pretty cool. In yesterday's Around the Horn in the Dark. And I thought it was fitting that it was in the dark because we're a late night crew here. Check out the finalists. That's right. Kayaking Santa and Franchise Time Machine in the final. 64 teams, two late night crew people in the final. That's pretty awesome. Congrats to Kayaking Santa for taking me out in the final. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I'm in so many. I have 6 accounts and I'm in so many tournaments. I am kind of in like a fire and forget mode for these, so I really appreciated Kaking Santa in our Discord bringing this up. That's awesome. And I think his message was, "My dude, 65 packs to us." Ah, so yeah, we were gonna have a good time no matter what, because it was two of us, late night crew in the final. That was really cool. We are always happy when someone from our little crew here does well in anything OTP related. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did open a bunch of packs actually this week. Uh, I was chasing, I was trying to finish missions to try to get the Ty Cobb for my Hooked on Phonics theme team. So for those of you who might not know, I have a theme team where only players who've been mispronounced by an affiliate streamer are eligible. And the other day, a streamer mispronounced Ty Cobb, so I was super excited to try to get Ty Cobb. And there actually have been a bunch of new cards. Actually, let me see. If I look at the new card, there are a bunch of new cards who are already eligible. My team is terrible. We're stuck in like stone or iron, partly because I don't open enough packs, but also because I have lots of eligible names. Not all of them have good cards. But if we look at the latest content drops here, please ignore the number of cards you see up here, packs you see up here. Raleigh Fingers, already on the list, was pronounced Roly Fingers. Um, Fernando Valenzuela had been pronounced Fernando Venezuela, so he's eligible. Um, who else? A couple more folks on this list. Uh, Doug DeCince was just mispronounced tonight as Doug DeCinces, so he's eligible. Um, who else? So I have to check the list for some of these, but those are at least three 100s that are eligible. So I'm pretty excited to try to get them onto the team. And I think also from the previous release too. Tyler Glasnow's been mispronounced. Um, I think I'll have to look up on my list, but I think Ellie De La Cruz might have been. Brandon Lau definitely has been. Because the Brandon Lau Josh Lowe thing, they're both eligible because they've been mispronounced in either direction. So yeah, so there's been a bunch of recent cards that I'm excited about. And there's Toy Cobb. Um, the rest I don't think are eligible yet. It would be amazing, but those are a pretty tall order. Um, so that might have been, but yeah, there's a few that I'm pretty excited to get onto the team. So yeah, so I was ripping packs, but I might still be over 10,000. It is a problem. Okay, let's get this simulation. I always feel better once the giveaway form is out there because now I feel like people just need time to fill it out. But we're going to start a new game. We have created a quick start for this, and so average league 4x4 quick start 15. I'm going to open up a notepad file off screen here and make note of the latest name. Oh, and we do have to. One thing we learned is we have to turn off automatically import historical rookies. That was creating a bunch of problems after the season ended, which made it hard to look up stats. All right, so we're using Average league 4 by. It should actually be 4 plus 4, but I don't think it would accept the plus, so I use the 4 by 4. And we're going to call this. What did I call last night's? Hang on, let me exit out of this real quick oh, I know what I called it. I call it PNB for pitcher and batter attributes. Ah, I don't want this. Cancel. You need to start writing down the results of experiments. You never remember the totals from one to the next. To be fair, I should be better also about tabulating them and maybe putting them on the in the Discord. Okay, it's called Pitcher and Batter Attributes 1963 this time, QSO1. Or no, it's VO1. It's not QSO1 until we save it. Yeah, but then everyone has the guessing advantage. I only want it to be me. By the way, after every stream, or maybe after every 2 or 3 streams, I have to send the results into OTP development so that they can award the packs. And I do that through Discord. And I'm strolling up through the Discord, and we talk so much about how Smiley Face Jane wins all these pack giveaways. I, does everyone realize Clay Dog comes in second a ton of times and first a few times? I actually think Clay Dog may have won more packs than Smiley Face Jane in our giveaways. But Clay Dog's flying a little bit more under the radar. So this is me putting the target on Clay Dog's back. Yeah, you think so too, but never want to draw attention? Yeah, that's what I'm here for, though. I do enjoy the standing joke, though, that if you say Smiley Face Jane's name 3 times, that she will appear in the stream to participate in the pack giveaway. I think that's pretty funny. Um, okay, so let's go ahead and make that change to the automatically import historical rookies and turning that off. And we'll save this as a new quick start. By the way, did y'all notice this? You can uncheck show player nicknames. Why would anyone do that? Like 60% of the fun of create a roster is seeing the nicknames during the creation process. Yeah, Clara, I agree. Only a monster would uncheck that. That's correct. All right, where is that thing? Wait, did I already miss it? Oh, okay, it is unchecked. Disable automatic creation of free agents. Maybe we already caught that and saved it in the last one. Okay, that's good. That's good. Someone commented that they turn them off during the draft period, so they don't know who has nicknames. Oh, Kaiki said that is a good point because we did notice that only the nicknames kind of disappear after the legend and star level players, and so that makes sense. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on, I'm going to pause for. I'm actually going to continue the build through the ad. Yeah, that ruins your. If I could change one thing. Oh, wait, maybe we can. No, no, no. I was gonna say maybe we can display the nicknames in creator roster in the one screen that everyone gets to see, but I actually like that it's a surprise. Like you pick the player and then it's like unwrapping a gift and seeing if, we won the prize. Did we get a good nickname or not? All right, while we're in here, let's go ahead and do our mailbox edits that the quick start will not save for some reason, which I think is a little ridiculous. And the manager settings that the quick start will also not save. Okay. Now the first thing we do is we go ahead and change the team names so I know what to edit. Okay, so here we go. And we'll make this the pitching and we'll make this the batting. Okay, so there's stuff. There's PBABIP. There's movement. And there's control. And I'm going to call this PCon because there's also batting contact. We don't have contact anymore because now it's avoid K and BABIP, but I'm going to leave that from the previous convention. Okay, on the batting side, we've got team BABIP. We've got team avoid K. Again, these are maximum contact teams, but it's where does the contact come from? Power. Oh, I did it backwards. This should be. We can leave avoid K, but this is power. Pow. Not poo. Poo. And I. Or patience. I'll just I. Okay. So it should change once we. There we go. Oh man! Last time the NL was the league, and so the Mets got to be the power team, which is, as we all know, advantageous. But now the Mets are the avoid K team. Ah, all right. There's Curtis Blanderson. If you see player, okay, so most players, if you're new to our stream, have names like Average Catcher One. If you see a player that's been named, the nickname is who named them. There's a point redemption for community members to rename players in in the quick start. And initially, they were just like funny names, but then it slowly migrated to like names that kind of refer to averageness, like Curtis Blanderson, because it's the average league. And so they've gotten even funnier since then. All right, so is Curtis Blanderson the? Oh, okay, he is. He's the first player. So we're gonna go ahead and change his batting attributes. All right, and so this is team avoid K. So first, I'm going to boost the avoid K to 550, which is the maximum. Okay, and that gets the contact up to 480. Oh, Max is redeeming. Um, so Max, I'm going to refund your points because oh, oh no, wait, it's not too early. We can still do it because we haven't. Oh no, no, I already changed the team names. So Max, I'm gonna I'll give you a choice. I can either refund your points and you can redeem them again later, or um, we could do it tomorrow before the creator roster. It's up to you. I think we already. Oh, we have a Ken Iffy Jr. We do have a Ken Iffy Jr. already, but we can also add a Ken Whiffy Jr. if you want. Here's yeah, here's Ken Iffy Jr. I don't mind having Ken with you do it tomorrow. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm changing their fatting attributes. Okay, so they get 550 avoid K, and then we make the difference up here to get them to. I don't know what it's going to take though. So this is interesting. It's not going to be that different from because before we did 538 across the board. So I guess what I'm trying to say is Team Avoid K and Team BABIP might not be that different from each other. So we may have to rethink this approach for next time. All right, we'll do 530 and 550. And hopefully the reverse is true for Team BABIP. Oh, Clay Dog has some ideas tomorrow too? Okay. Oops, I messed up on the mouse click there. Okay. Okay, this one's done. Wait, was that one done correctly? It was. Okay. All right, we're good. Sorry, one mouse click and it cost us a bunch of time there. So this will be interesting. I don't know that we're going to see much difference between Team BABIP and Team Avoid K because I actually thought the difference would be a little greater. And I can't increase the separation because I think this is interesting. If you take this to 551, watch the view rating over here, right? It's 95 on a scale of 20 to 80. If I make this 551, and it's now 70. And if I make this also 551, it's now 25. Anything over 500, it like treats as if it went back to 1, which I don't really like. It doesn't let you do anything above scale. But the weird thing is, you will see numbers above scale and you will still see that view rating high. You just can't enter in anything above scale. If you put in 550 and then the player develops up, it can go higher. Twins, good seeing you back in our stream. That's awesome, man. Welcome in. There's a 10-pack giveaway form pinned to the chat if you want to try to win some packs while watching our experiment tonight. Wins 34, great member of our community. Um, has been super helpful to us over the course of the time we've been streaming. Uh, yes, twins. No, no, yeah, no. I'm just letting people know who haven't, who maybe started watching us since you last appeared, uh, who you are. But yeah, awesome to have Twins 34 back in our stream, back in our chat. Has helped us a ton with like insights about the game, technical parts of the game. Just super knowledgeable, super great guy. Really happy to see him around again. All right. So And I shouldn't complain about not being able to enter anything above 550 because 550 itself is pretty crazy high. Yeah, no, twins. Yeah. Once that information was released, I was like, oh, now I know the secret project that Twins was working on. That's super cool. And frankly, I think after enough time, it will be a much better resource than a manual and an instruction manual would be. Yeah, Twins, I second what Kayaking Santa said there. Thank you for your efforts there. That is a huge thing for the community. So, in case you all missed the announcements in the OTP Discord, there is a Kayaking Santa, awesome, gifting a sub to Twins. Um, yeah, there's going to be a new wiki that will serve as the information resource for people playing OTP, and Twins has been working on that. So yes, I agree, Twins, especially because I think it's the community can work on it will make it better, a more robust, but also at least for me, the reason I got so hooked on Perfect Team is the community. So the fact that the wiki will be community driven, I think, is very appropriate for our universe here. Hey, Twins! Now that you are a sub, you will rack up um, channel points faster, and you can also redeem those channel points at the discounted sub rate if you want to play a game. So, creator roster is kind of taken off while you've been gone. There's original creator roster, there's dead ball creator roster, and there's low ball where you try to make the worst team possible. So, and we still have our old game night games too, like Force 4 trades and stuff. So, can we get the saw voice? Do you want to play a game as a redeem? You know what? If I was going to do you want to play a game? I would actually go with the old war games. The how about a nice game of chess voice? All right. Oh, okay. This is gonna be weird. We're switching back and forth between pitching and batting. Okay. So this one is BABIP. BABIP is actually relatively easy to change. Here's Duckbread, who was named by AW. Yeah, and I think the fact that the fact that Twins does not work for OTP um, is all the more reason we're thanking him because he's doing it as a member of the community, which makes it extra awesome. Yes, Clay Dog. I do I say it's awesome that in that it's awesome that he's willing to do that. I do have mixed feelings about OTP using community members for free labor. I agree. Okay, well, that was a pretty quick team. We got that one done fast. Control. This is also pretty straightforward. Yeah, I mentioned before, PBABIP, if you notice, I was only increasing to 250. That's the maximum. Twins, fair enough. Never did say it was not compensated in some way. Fair enough. I hope it was fair compensation then. You still have our gratitude though for putting in the work. Everyone will appreciate it, especially when they start using it. I think they'll realize how important that is. Fat packs. Huh. Could you imagine them trying to negotiate with me to try to get me to do something? They're like, "Oh, we'll give you, I don't know, how about if we give you 2,000 packs?" I'll be like, "That's almost disincentive to do it." Although I don't know if they offer me some historic rainbow packs or something, that'd be pretty nice. I would open those for sure. I've been playing a lot of perfecto drafts and near perfect drafts, and there are a lot of really fun high level cards out there now. And it did make me start to like daydream the other day. If I had like unlimited perfect points, what would my team look like? And then I kind of realized that would be fun for like a day. But then, like, if I won anything, I'd be like, okay, great, I won, but I have every card. Like, I don't know, I don't see how that would be fun. Like, to me, part of the fun is like kind of being scrappy and trying to cobble together the best cards you can with the resources you have. And, by resources you have, I think part of the fun of that is trying to increase the resources you have by being scrappy. Like, I really like Fussmucker and his live spec stuff, and you would literally be the marketplace of this. The sad thing too is I tried to rip packs and stream and ran into the card limit. And so instead of like having a fun pack ripping stream, I'm like trying to quick sell cards and stuff to try to keep up so that I can finish the stream. Oh, I did realize though when I might actually rip some of those packs is yeah, that clay dog, that's what I realized. I have to make room before I start the stream, which actually is disincentive to do it in stream. It's like I don't want to do that because it's annoying. But during Thanksgiving week, during the Thanksgiving holiday, we will be traveling. But I stream at night because I'm always up after my kids and wife go to bed, and I might still do like a no mic chat only stream where I rip packs, and we can still do the 10 pack giveaway. I don't know if you guys remember. My 10 pack giveaway game is called Last Licks, and you're trying to guess what the last high value card I rip will be. And so you're literally in the running until the last pack of the rip session. So I feel like it makes it fun because, um, you know, like I love Rip a Pack of Palooza, but half the time, like I'm out of the running halfway through. But this way, like everyone's in the running until the end. And so, and I think I can do it through chat and keep it interesting. So during Thanksgiving break, if anyone's around and looking for drops and to hang out and talk ball, I will be hopefully ripping packs and got to close the form earlier. Yeah, I think I have to close it before the guesses are shown, right? Because once you know what other people have guessed, it's too easy to game it. Um, but part of the fun is like knowing who's in the lead, so it kind of makes sense to close it early so that we can say, oh, Clay Dog's in the lead, or oh, now Max LP's in the hot seat. The hot seat is what I was calling it. Right. There was no point to not. Yeah, just wait till the. Yeah. Pandarius, welcome in. My Twitch worlds are colliding again. Pandarius, we met through the Ophi and Stitch uh, stream. Oh, there's no Ophi today. I didn't realize that. What's going on? Oh, construction in her building. I see. Oh, and I forgot that we had daylight savings time, so I'm used to Ophi starting at midnight Pacific time, but Ophi would now start at 11 Pacific time. Oh, well, we're gonna have to find somewhere else to raid into. Oh no, wait, tonight we raid into Max, I think. Anyway, so but that's a bummer. No Ophi. Um, yeah, I gotta confess, even when I'm watching Max's stream, I usually have Max on the speakers and Ophi in my earbud, and I watch both streams. In fact, yeah, okay, yeah, thanks, Max. I forgot that it's Thursday. Let's give a little shout out to Ophi and Stitch, our favorite pixel artist embroidery stream. It's it's very different from OOTP streams, y'all, but it's super chill and super cool. Okay, so that team is done. The raw movement team. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a quick start because I realize we can just use this pre-populated with, yeah. Oh, yeah. For those of you who missed it, who have been to Ophi's stream before, Ophi knows baseball. So she was explaining baseball to her chat, and I was like, my mind is being blown right now because she's Palestinian, lives in Taiwan, grew up mostly in Palestine. I was like, why would you know baseball? And it turns out she played baseball when she lived in the US for a little while as a kid. And her explanations to her chat about like what is a shortstop? Like spot on. Perfect explanation for like non-baseball fans. It was amazing. I think better than I could do it because I think I would have a hard time explaining to someone who doesn't know baseball. But yeah, her explanations are awesome. Okay, so this is raw movement. This is a pitching staff change. So y'all, don't let me start the sim before I save this quick start. This is going to be, we're going to use this to test other eras. I want to do this for every PTCS. I want to do this before every theme week season. I think it'll be a really quick way to get a sense of like, which way should I weight my decisions for roster builds. Okay, raw movement's an easy one too. We just jack this up to 550. Yeah, twins, I don't know if you're going to be able to hang out much tonight, but I'd be curious to see if the stream has changed much since you were last year. Like, I don't see the difference because I'm just me and I'm me every day. But you having been away for a while, you might be like, oh, like this part's very different. Or, yeah, no, it's mostly the same. I do think the community the community games are a big difference and they're super fun. I'm me every day is exactly what a Russian spy would say. That's funny. Speaking of which, did everyone today, everyone get to hear Laptop Hound during his Soviet accent? It's amazing. Yeah, I don't know, Max. It took me forever to get giveaway packs, but it was also the same time you were waiting to get affiliate status. So it might have just been like they were bogged down with stuff in the OTP development's office. Oh, I don't know. Are his parents? I thought he was impersonating like Russian comedians because he named a few. Oh, it took twins almost 3 months to get giveaway packs. Okay. Uh oh yeah, twins. Are you back to streaming then? I've never gotten to enter a twins pack giveaway. I would like to do that someday. Not yet. Okay, let me know when you do. I will support that however I can, twins, whether it's shout outs or uh if you're streaming like when I end and it's not a night I'm raiding into Max, I'd be happy to raid into you. Um, but yeah, however I can help, whether it's just spreading the word, definitely like to support that. Oh, Claydog, I might have missed that, but that could be true. Yeah, but then I would expect his accent to be better. It was his parents. 1 second, I thought I already did PBABIP. Oh wait, did I mistake the BABIP team for the PBABIP team? I bet I did. I bet I did. I think this was supposed to be BABIP, and I made it PBABIP. I did. Okay. The starters, relievers, and closers all have different BABIPs, PBABIPs. So let me see what they're supposed to be. Let me correct this mistake here. Glad I caught it before the sim started. Yeah, it was funny. It was like it was one of those things that was so bad it was funny. It was actually amazingly funny. Okay, starters are 125. The game sets them to 124 for some reason. Closers are 104, probably 100. Maybe it's supposed to be 125. And relievers are 125. Okay, so 120. Okay. All right, let me fix my mistake, y'all. Sorry, it's going to take a little longer to get to the sim now because I messed this up. But especially with the slick back hair, Clay Dog. Yeah. No, I like it was reminiscent of Russian accents I know, but it was definitely like not good. But it was awesome. It was one of the more fun streams, and he's done lots of fun streams, and I thought it was a blast. All right, let me see if I can fix this mistake now. Now I'm gonna arrow up. Yeah, see, it does some calculations, so it changes it away from 125, but that's fine. There's something weird with the closer that for some reason it translated to 120, 104, but it's not doing that here. Okay, so why was there someone on the Mets who was 124? Wait, that one right there. Average closer 2 and average closer 1. Why are they 104? I know there was a reason for it. I just can't remember the reason. And I'm trying to remember what it was. But to be consistent, we're going to change them. I'm assuming I changed it to 100 Yeah, if I change to 100, the game sets it to 104. Okay, so the pitching part of this is now fixed. Now I have to go ahead and go back and change their BABIPs. Okay, this is the reverse now. We're setting the BABIPs to 550. It should be 530. Oh, interesting. Look at this, y'all. This means the calculation for contact is not symmetrical. Oh, no, maybe it is. Maybe, hold on, maybe it is. I forgot to do this one. It is still not symmetrical. This 555 is a little bit higher. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, we just discovered something about the game. You actually, the same BABIP, um, how do I phrase this? The same increase in BABIP increases contact more than the same increase in avoid K. That in itself is kind of a learning here already. I'm not quite sure how to make that fair. I mean, a fair comparison. Uh, there's like no. I mean, I said I'd already do this for the form, so I can't go back and change it. Like we are trying to make the contact 550, and it's either contact driven by BABIP or contact driven by avoid K. I mean, let's see what happens here, but the fact that you need lower avoid K to make 550 BABIP equal 550 contact, this asymmetry between this, I guess, so what I'm talking about is here it's 550 and 520 to get to 551. In the reverse, it's 530 BABIP and 550 avoid K to get to 549. So already it's showing that like BABIP is a little more powerful than avoid K, I think. Anyway, this it'll be interesting how this plays out now. I'm very intrigued by this. And again, if anyone's new to this, I don't do this to try to um I'm not trying to like badmouth OTP or show that it's deficient in any way. I'm fascinated by trying to discover how it works, and I think that it works so well is amazing to me because you're trying to simulate a very complex game of baseball into a computer game, and so trying to like show up OTP is the furthest thing from my mind. I'm actually just trying to understand how this complicated game engine works. So I feel like anytime I discover even like a quirky little thing like this, I'm like, oh, that is a very interesting thing that the calculation to get contact is not symmetrical between BABIP and avoid K. Like that's something I don't know necessarily how to use that information yet in the game, but I feel like it's a very big insight that I didn't have 5 minutes ago. I bet AW knows about this. AW, who is often in our chat, did a lot of analytic stuff for PBE, the Professional Baseball Experience, one of the online leagues that community members can create players for. And He knows a lot about the base engine from that. Granted, it's in previous versions of OTP. I think they're still running OTP 23, but his insights have been very helpful in our various experiments. Okay, so the BABIP team's been corrected. Now this is where I realized I made the mistake in doing the PBABIP team. So now we can boost all these up to 250. Just a little hiccup. I'm actually surprised I don't run into problems like that more often doing these sims. And these are the kinds of things I used to just do on my own. Now that I'm doing them in stream, I feel bad when I mess up. When I messed up on my own, it's just like, oh, well, I just have to bite the bullet and correct it. I feel bad that the chat has to watch me undo my mistakes. All right. Power team, the one everyone's been waiting for, or at least I have. All right, let's boost this power to 550. There we go. Oh, I just saw a big chunk of text come in the chat from Twins. What is this? Twin says, drank with Russians once. I will never drink with Russians again. Mom was talking to my mom was talking to their wives after a concert we went to. They sat down and said, in Russia, when someone sits down at a table with you, you usually offer them something to drink. So I did. They paid for drinks the rest of the night, and I toast 3 hours after they sat down. That's amazing. Sounds like a fun night, though. You don't think you're ever so drunk in your life? Last time I was in that situation, they were amazed at how much I could put down, and I was like, I'm from Wisconsin. All right, we have one more team to do. Max says that's like a Monday night bowling for me. Okay, team stuff. Now, team stuff is a little tricky because we have to. Stuff is the most complicated rating because it draws from so many other attributes to calculate stuff. But we're going to use the same formula we used last night, which is if I can remember correctly, we boost velocity, we max out the fastball, and we increase the slider. Was it 538? No, that's way too high. Was it 525? That's still too high. Did I not take the fastball to 550 last time? I thought I did. Oh, is this 475? No. Oh, Max is in Vegas tonight, so no stream. Okay. Uh, and maybe Friday. Okay, all right. Well, good luck. Good luck at the tables there. Maybe I made this just 500. You're there for the food. No, that's not enough. Okay, this seems like I would have called it here. 550, 450, and we're at 548 stuff. And I think I would have said close enough. So Twin says the bars in Wisconsin on New Year's only have to close for 2 hours before they can open back up. Wait, why do they have to close at all? I'm confused. When I was a DJ, my grandma lived up in Winter, Wisconsin. I would drive from Minnesota to Wisconsin and DJ in a bar up there and talk about a night of a lot of oh, and talk about a night of a lot of beers and drinks. Would you drink after your DJ set, or were you drinking during your DJ set? Oh, the bars have to close at 2 a.m. Got it. Extended hours on New Year's. Okay. Very extended. Okay, this is a good formula, I think. 550 pound. For those of you who this might affect your guesses, the way we're getting to the 550 stuff is maximum velo, 550 fastball, 450 slider. Now that's going to be different for the relief pitchers because they only have two pitches. See, we're already at 438 just from that. So 550, 420. 420, y'all. Best drive New Year's. Clado says best drive New Year's for me was when I was working as a bouncer. We'd go to the service industry party at the bar down the street after we closed, and that's where it got really loud. I've heard from my friends who work in the service industry that the service industry after parties are the craziest, which I completely believe. Twin says my wife was 20 when we got married, and in Wisconsin she could drink, but not in Minnesota. That's amazing. Okay, I think we're done. We're done setting up the teams. Now, no, wait, something's wrong. Oh, I didn't change the velo. So that's why this one's a low still. Okay, let me go back and make sure yeah, this one didn't get the velo boost either. Okay, this is why I check. And this is a starter. Okay, yeah. All that being said, Claddock said I'd rather live in Minnesota these days. Going to look into moving there when I finish the school program. And I think Oh, I think Clara, you might have told me in Discord. So if you, I'll ask you. I won't say it. I'll ask you. Do you want to say when you finish your program? By the way, finishing a school program, I'm assuming it's a degree program. That's also worth celebrating with a free game night, Clay Dog. So let me know when that happens. We'll give you a free game night. We'll play something fun. Minnesota's very high in taxes and cost of living for the Midwest sucks. I always thought the Midwest had good cost of living. Twins. I mean, I went to grad school in Chicago, and I thought the real estate prices were extremely reasonable. You'll be done in a little over a year. It's a 2-year associate's, but should be enough to break into industry with a previous degree. Awesome. Well, let me know when it happens. We'll celebrate with you with a game. Oh, Twin says everywhere but Minnesota. Got it. Got it. Okay, now I let me save this, and now we're going to save this as a quick start. This is going to be basically the pitching and batting attribute quick start. This will be much more convenient every time we want to do this. We'll just change the era, and Clay Dog's willing to pay the taxes, but Wisconsin's a political cesspool, and I'm done with it. Okay, so did I save it? Let me save it again, just in case. Okay, now we're going to just save this as a quick start. And this will be I'm just going to make note of it here. We're going to call it PNB for pitcher and batter attributes 4x4 average league QSO1. Okay, so let me put that in here. Pitcher and batter attribute 4x4 average league QSO1. Oh, let's take out the 4x4 because we haven't used that 8x8 much at all. Okay, and this is 4x4 average league with pitcher maxed out attributes for era testing. Perfect. Yeah, Twins, it sounds like Minnesota's surprisingly like Oregon because Oregon's very progressive in the cities, but if you get a little bit outside the cities, it's pretty quickly red. And when I used to live in Seattle, Washington was like that too. Um, okay, so the quick start saved. This one's ready to go. So okay, I think we're ready to do. We're gonna do our typical 3 minute commercial roll, ad roll. So this is your 3 minute warning if you're working on your 10 pack giveaway form. We're gonna close the form and look at the guesses after this ad roll, and this way we won't get interrupted by ads during the sim. All right, see you in a few minutes. All right, y'all. I think we're back from the ad break. So, is anyone still working on their pack giveaway form? Because I'm about to close it so we can look at the guesses before we start the stream, the sim, I mean. Anyone? Anyone? Anyone about to hit submit? All right, I'm going to close it. I'm not hearing any objections. All right, form is closed. Let me pull up this sheet. All right, I'm going to hide the names until after the sim. And we're going to look, we won't look at the numerical guesses until after the sim as well. All right, here we go. This is interesting. Okay, which pitching team? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hold on, we got to do one more thing in the game. We're testing the 63 environment. We need to change it to 1963. But it's because I wanted to do the quick start save before we change anything. So that was intentional, but then I forgot to do it. So if y'all ever want to do this, you go to league settings, stats and AI. Okay. You can see here, these are the modifiers for 2023. Right. We need to set our run environment. Now, when we change the run environment, it's also going to change all of this. So keep an eye on this part too. It'll change the typical roster sizes and the reliever mix. So you go to here to select a year. In this case, we're going to 1963. Baseball boom, 1963. Okay, you can see the number of relievers suggested went down to 6. Still running a 5-man rotation. Um, but that means 15 position players. Now, I am surprised it didn't change. Oh, it didn't change the roster limit to 26 because that's in a different setting. So in 1965, they would have been running 25 players. Hmm. We could take out the 6 starter because 6 starter always gets put in the bullpen, gets the starter the bullpen boost, and kind of throws out the bullpen anyway. But then would that interfere with comparisons across eras? I don't know. All right, we'll leave it as 26 for now. Now, what I don't think got changed here is this, probably because it was locked. So let's unlock this. Let's set this to 63 as well. Okay, so this is now changed. I was looking at the home run number. That number has definitely changed. So the modifiers have also changed, which is good. That's how you get the flavor of the era. Um, and we are going to use we're going to Oh, shoot. So in the forms, no, no, wait, wait. Maybe hold on, hold on. I have to look at something in the forms. Oh, that's funny. I had it wrong even for 1984. I said modifiers were off, but you can't do an era. You can't do an era simulation with modifiers off. So hopefully that didn't throw anyone off in your guesses. The modifiers have to be on for the year that you're simulating because we're out of 2023 now. So I need to correct that in future pack giveaway forms. But I think you all knew we were simulating in 1963 since that's the title of the sim. So hopefully you factor that in. I apologize if the form was incorrect. Um, I'll fix that next time. Okay, so we want to let it auto calculate. So now we're set. Now we are in 1963. And I did make a change from last night. So last night I calculated this and then I locked the auto calc modifiers before adding the play before changing the players. But then I realized if we're trying to test for PTCS or for theme week, those all have their modifiers on. So I think the best way to simulate that is to leave autocalc with modifiers checked. So that if you do add players, it does either nerf them or boost them to get to the targets because that's what's going to happen in the tournaments and that's what's going to happen in the leagues. So we turn it off for our sims because we don't want to nerf Babe Ruth when we bring in a league full of Babe Ruths. But for this, we're trying to learn what might happen in PTCS or in league play. I think we need to leave the modifiers on. But it was stated incorrectly on the forum, so I apologize for that. All right, so now we have to save this again, just in case. Okay, now we're ready to sim. I'm glad I remember that. Otherwise, this just would have been a 2023 sim. Okay, let's look at the guesses. All right. This is amazing. We have a ton of variety here, way more than we had last night. So this will be a lot of fun to do. Which pitching team will have the lowest ERA? Control, stuff, two movements, and a PBABIP. Which pitching team will have the second lowest ERA? Two PBABIPs, two controls, and a movement. So who's missing? Stuff is there. Oh, they're all there. Every possible team has been guessed for first and second. Okay, on the batting side, which batting team will have the most runs scored? Only one with power. Okay, a lot of teams went with power for second most runs scored. Interesting. So a lot of faith that 63 is going to nerf the power, but then not a lot of agreement on what's going to come up second if power is nerfed. Okay, this is really cool, y'all. These guesses, I'm excited about these guesses. Oh no, Kakizana, we haven't done the sim yet. This is our before we run the sim, we always look to see what the guesses are, so we can kind of see what people are thinking, and then we're gonna run the sim. Then we'll do the final review. So you haven't missed the results yet. You're actually just in time. Okay, so let's run it. I'm very excited about those guesses. All right, let's see our first 2 game month here in March. I should also note one thing we didn't, a couple things we didn't do because normally if we start building the sim in 1963, it's 154 game seasons. There's if we go too far back, there's no All Star game. So one of the benefits of starting in 23 and just changing the run environment in the game settings is that the schedule's the same. We're still running 162 games. We'll still have an All Star break and an All Star game. So it's as apples to apples as we can get. The only thing that's changing is the era. From a from a fidelity to history perspective, it's off. But from a being able to compare results across eras, I think it's better. So that's why I wanted to save that quick start. I think this is how we're going to do it going forward. Okay, so again, we can't really tell anything from 2 games. So let's do a full month here. And and again, the team results may obscure what's actually happening in the batting and pitching stats, which is why we went away from using standings as uh, to determine which is most effective. But it's still fun to do. 30 scoreless inning streak by average starter 4 from which team? From Team Stuff. Interesting. Team Stuff coming in with scoreless inning streak. All right. Well, Team I on the batting side is falling way behind. 13 games behind already. It's a lot tighter on the pitching side, which is what we normally see. But team movement is down, which kind of makes sense. If you believe home runs are going to be suppressed in the era, then movement should be less important, and it's kind of playing out that way. But that's only one full month, so let's see how the next month goes. Wow, power was in the basement for a second there. We're not used to seeing that. Quality start streak, 9 game extra base hit streak, 20 game hitting streak. Okay, PBABIP is leading on the pitching side, basically almost in a tie with Stuff. But all the teams are only within 6 games of each other. So we're really going to have to look at the pitching stats, the ERA specifically, to see if there's a difference there. On the batting side, BABIP is running away with it the way we're used to seeing Power run away with it. And again, BABIP and Avoid K are closely related. They both have 550 contact. I'm surprised that there's any separation there. I was not expecting that. And look at this. First and third in the league in batting average are two of our favorite player names, Bobby Vanilla and Curtis Blanderson. All right, let's run to the end of June, and then we'll head to the All-Star break. I will say, if the statistical results are similar to the standings, this is going to have a big impact on how I build my rosters for PTCS. So in the low home run environment, though, we had a 5 game home run streak by average infielder 1. I'm assuming from Team Power. Yeah, Team Power. Clinton, who? Oh, yeah. He's a catcher, though, right? I don't think catchers ever lead the league in batting average. Very rarely. All the pain and never the recognition. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the All Star break. All right, let's see here. At the All Star break, oh, we need to do one more game, I think, right? To get to, yeah, one more game. Okay, so at the All Star break, we actually have a lot more separation in the pitching than we're used to seeing, I think. PBABIP is in the lead. I think if I recall correctly, in 2023 or in 1984, it was Stuff. Or no, in 2023, it was Stuff. So this is a difference already right off the bat here. Uh, and on the batting side, it's pretty well known. Power is in first place consistently in 2023. It is right now in third, at least in the standings, and the two control teams are first and second. But BABIP is dominating Avoid K even within the contact family. All right, let's go to the home run contest. Now these should all be from the power team. Oh, there's two Thompson. Um, power. Actually, two Thompson's in there with only 22 home runs. 30, 27, 28, 24, 23, 30. These are actually lower than I would have expected. Only average infielder one with 42 is kind of around where I thought they would be. Because again, these are 550 power hitters hitting against average pitching. That's why I thought their home run totals would be higher. Oh, two Thompson with the upset over the 42 home run average infielder one advances to round two. Average outfielder three and average infielder four. Homer Runson advances in the bottom half of the bracket. Max, that might be true, especially because when we do the game settings for 1910, the game setting is for four starting pitchers. But I think we've all experienced that you can run three in 1910 in Perfect Team. So what the game engine recommends in the era is not necessarily what you can get away with in tournament play. Um, I'm still going to go with five because it's best of nine. All right, average outfielder three wins it, 13-8. Wow, so one of the bigger differences we've seen in the home run challenge final there. Okay, let's go to the All Star game itself. We'll click play this. Now, again, if we look at the standings, the AL is the pitching league and the NL is the batting league. So, will the AL pitching beat the NL batting? Okay, the AL pitching was shut out by the NL batting. How does that work? What? That doesn't make any sense. What? I'm trying to think. Does that make sense? The AL is the pitching league, and they got shut out by the batting league? Wait a second. How does that work? I guess the average pitcher shut out the average hitters, and the boosted pitchers couldn't get out the boosted batters. That's interesting. Average starter four got rocked from the movement team too. They didn't give up a home run. Oh, okay. So here's the thing: the movement pitcher got rocked because they didn't give up home runs, but for everything else, they're average and they're facing boosted hitters, so they got crushed. And then average starter five gave up a run because they're a stuff pitcher, so they have average movement, so they give up a home run. That's interesting how that played out. That the batting team shut out the hitting team, or I'm sorry, the hitting team shut out the pitching team. Which, yeah, I guess it's average pitchers beat the average hitters, and the boosted pitchers couldn't beat the boosted hitters. Okay, the more I think about it, the less I'm shocked, but I'm still a little surprised, I guess. All right, let's go back to the standings page. Let's finish out the season here to the end of July. a 51 game on base streak by average infielder 2, and a 45 game hitting streak by average infielder 2. And they are on the BABIP team. Interesting. A 45 game on base streak by average infielder 2. Oh, same guy. By the way, last night in the 1984 sim, on the pitching side, we had a batting triple crown with, I think, 18 home runs. It was pretty awesome. All right, let's zoom to the end of August here, to the roster expansion date, which has no roster expansion. 7 game home run streak by average infielder 3, 40 scoreless inning streak by average starter 4. Okay, what team is this scoring streak from? Is it Team Stuff? It is Team Stuff. Yeah. So, one of the things that we found during these sims is when you're pitching against an average league of batters, stuff is huge. The problem is in perfect team, in tournaments and league play, you're not facing average hitters. But this is to establish some sort of baseline of like the relative importance of these attributes. We can do further testing to see like, okay, do they hold up when your batters are above average? But if they're all above average and modifiers are on, the average just shifts. They're all going to be average again. So I don't know. I don't see that it's going to be that different. Okay, let's go back to the standings and let's finish up the season. And again, the standings are pretty convincing, but we've known before that the standings can often mask a lot of noise around stuff that's not related to the attributes we've changed. So that's why we look at the stats now instead of the attributes. But this is pretty interesting. I mean, they're pretty convincing differences here. For one, power being third is kind of shocking, even though I knew it would be nerfed. It's surprisingly low. And I mean, since power's that nerfed, it makes sense that movement is also nerfed because when you don't have to suppress home runs, that becomes kind of a wasted attribute. But PBABIP in this simulation engine being that far ahead in first place is surprising, especially since stuff was so dominant in 2023. Yeah, Claydog, that power standing is very surprising. It's not so surprising that it's not in first place. I mean, it is actually, but that it's 27 games behind. I can't wait to see the run scored stats, which is the metric we decided to use here. All right, let's finish out the season here. End of the regular season. Exactly, Claydog. BREF has a home run rate slightly less than 2023. This is why I think simulating is important because BREF is just like comparing batters to batters. It doesn't simulate the entire run environment. Okay, we have one more game to sim. Get to the end of the regular season. Okay, so in the batting league, Team BABIP has run away with it. They're 22 games ahead of the average K team. But the interesting thing here is it's two contact teams in first and second place. And I mean, 9 games separating the average K team from power team, that's not nothing. 9 games is a significant lead. And then I isn't dead last. Now, that's not to say that the power I guys are wrong because when combined with power, maybe it's important. But also in 1963, those two are in second last and last place. So power I, while it's a great combo in 2023, I would guess if they're both this low separately, they're not going to really help each other that much collectively. So power I almost seems definitely like the wrong way to go in 63. That alone is a good insight because I do still pick a lot of power I guys for modern era, but I got to remember to not do that for 63. So the run environment in this sim is based on normalization of our experimental league. That is true. But the reason I leave the normalization on is because the tournaments are normalized. So I'm trying to kind of make it parallel to the tournament environment. What's fun to see though is the difference between the leagues. When batting attributes are boosted, even though it's normalized, right? The home run leaders have 65 and there's 46 and 45. In the pitching league, the home run leaders are 10, 9, and 9. It's because the normalization happens across the entire league, not within the sub leagues. So you have average power hitters who have been nerfed because you have 550 power hitters in the other league. No, no, yeah, Clay Dog. I didn't think you were trying to fault the mythology either. I'm just trying to explain how it does and doesn't parallel Perfect Team. So I think only the broadest insights can be taken from this and applied to Perfect Team. And if any of the results are close, I don't think there's enough there to say one is better than the other when you take it to Perfect Team. But I think if there's like big directional differences, I would feel confident saying those big directional differences probably also apply in Perfect Team. Um, and I think there are big directional differences here, like power being third, and right to your point, Clay, not being close and being third that's a big insight for 1963. I would have expected for 1968. I would have expected it for Deadball, but the BREF season comparisons being so close. But this is why we sim it out in the run environment because it's playing out much more than zero point 0.1 difference. I mean, it's like almost completely inverted. Power goes from being like super dominant now to being like very behind contact. Now, here's the conclusion I don't think you can take away necessarily and apply it to Perfect Team is that within contact, BABIP is this much more important than Avoid K because the stuff environment in Perfect Team might be different than the stuff environment here. But let's run the postseason and then let's look at the stats and we'll get the answers to our questions here. All right, so we've got the Stuff Angels against the PBABIP Athletics, and we've got the Avoid K Mets against the BABIP Braves. Power not in the postseason is really shocking. I've still not come to terms with that, I think. Okay, BABIP has beaten Avoid K, and Stuff has beaten PBABIP in an upset on the pitching side there. Again, this is super small sample size, though, within super small sample size. And BABIP Braves, the contact team, does win the World Series. All right, now let's get to the stats. Let's look at these stats. All right, the first thing we like to look at are the league leaders here. And let's look at them separate. This is the batting league. So, of course, you've got BABIP hitters here And then this is interesting. The top four, the three of the top four are BABIP, and then the rest are avoid K. So the BABIP had the highest. Avoid K had the most on that list. Um, for home runs, this should all be power teams. Yeah, all eight are from the power team. For RBI, though, it's a mix. You've got BABIP, avoid K, power. But what you don't see is you don't see I. And this is something D Block talks about a lot, which I completely agree with. You can build part of your lineup optimized around on base percentage, but someone has to drive those runners in, right? And so I is just not showing up here under RBI. Now I is showing up around on base percentage, of course. I'd actually be curious to see what's showing up in runs, if it looks like the RBI list or not. And it is. It's all power, BABIP, and avoid K. There's no I there. Okay, let's see what it looks like for the pitching side. And for this, we'll look at the pitching league. Right, look at these ERAs. Now, the ERA leaders are coming from half of the league leaders are from the PBABIP team. In in '84, we saw most of this was, I think, stuff. And frankly, stuff being high on ERA or being effective on ERA, that completely made me rethink how the game is calculating outs. Because I think we've been led to believe by how things were explained to us by OTP in particular that the game calculates outs and then applies stuff to determine whether the out was a strikeout or not. But in a bunch of our sims, stuff has been very effective on both OPS and ERA, to the extent that I think the stuff calculation actually happens earlier in the process, and you do get more outs with a high stuff pitcher than you do with a low stuff pitcher. And it's not just that the outs you get the same number of outs, but they're more or fewer strikeouts based on stuff. So I think that either in OTP 25, or maybe it's always been the case that the stuff calculation leads to strikeouts or not strikeouts earlier in the calculation process. So to me, that's an important insight into how the game engine actually works, like the actual mechanics of the calculations, right? Because it's still an algorithm, and so the question with the algorithm is, okay, is it you calculate out or not out first, or is it calculating walk or not walk? That's one way we've heard before, that there's speculation that it calculates walk or not walk first. But I think our results have definitely shown that the strikeout calculation is not just, or the stuff calculation is not just, is a given out a strikeout or not? Is definitely contributing to whether the out's happening or not in the first place. So I don't know if that makes sense to you. I know it makes sense to AW because he and I have, I think, gone around in circles explaining it to each other to make sure we're on the same page. Um, but if you think of it as a flow chart, right? I think it used to be explained to us in that the flow chart goes, okay, is the plate appearance an out or not an out? And maybe before that is it a walk or not? Then if it's not, is it an out or not an out? If it's an out, is it a strikeout? But the fact that stuff is so effective in both improving whip and ERA obliterates that. Like it has to come earlier than that because you're actually getting more outs with high stuff pitchers. The mental model that I explained previously would not work with high stuff. Yeah, Clay Dog, I agree. Like I never quite bought into it that strikeout was the last one of the last results calculated, but I couldn't prove it. Now I feel like we can prove it. Like we have enough data from enough simulations that that stuff calculation is not being done last, it's being done early. Maybe not first, but definitely earlier than last. Okay, so this is where we look for stuff like, okay, is there one team overrepresented in the win totals or the loss totals? Right. You have several movement teams here in the top lost pitchers. People wanted to believe that because of the PT meta early. Yeah. And quite on, I think what happened with the meta here, it was just a confluence of there were a lot of good low stuff pitchers, and there were a lot of low avoid K batters, and that's why BABIP seems so important, right? BABIP is super important in a world where avoid K doesn't matter because then all your contact comes from BABIP, and so like the silver Miguel Sano card, and like Dan Pasqua, and I'm naming just some of my favorite cards that had high BABIP. They became less and less effective as you saw more and more silver pitchers with high stuff. But yeah, Claydog, that early meta definitely created the illusion. I think that stuff could be a final calculation. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Um, well, this makes sense for strikeouts, right? Once you get past your five starters from the stuff team, they all led in stuff in strikeouts. Then you see the other teams are just average and everything else except for control or movement. So it's interesting that the next two strikeout leaders are control pitchers. This is crazy. 39.0 strikeout to walk ratio by one of the control pitchers. Right. So if you have average strikeout stuff, but you have beyond elite control, you end up with strikeout per walk ratios in the 30s, which is insane. These must be the bullpen pitchers, actually. Well, no, because you can only have one start in the bullpen, so only one of them could be getting this stuff boost. Let me see what pitcher on that control team is in the pen. Yeah, no, Max, I intentionally did not include the park factors because I'm just looking at the era factors here. Because I feel like the park factors are a lot easier to just add on top of the era factors. It's the era factors that are, I think, much more confounding. Because to me, the park factors are just a multiplier. The era changes are much more complicated because the park factors aren't going to change walks. They're not going to change control. Um, they're not going to affect I on the batter side. Oh, let me catch up here, Claydog. Claydog's been thinking about the stuff boost phrasing. If what they meant is to start pitching moving to the pen, drop pitches that drops their stuff rating, so the boost is just going to back up to even with a relief pitcher. I don't necessarily think that's the case, Claydog, because in the earliest example, which is the Nate Cornejo versus Nelly Fox simulation, it whether or not he dropped pitches, which he did, um, okay, maybe the mechanics are the way you're describing. I don't necessarily know whether it's like okay, it drops down because they lose pitches and they boost it back up to try to make up for it. Actually, we should test for that because the way it ended up playing out was he got a relatively modest boost and stuff, but because it was in a um, because the modifiers were on, and there were only basically two pitchers. There was starting Nate Cornejo or reliever Nate Cornejo. you actually end up with pitchers with like 1.0 strikeouts per nine or 20 strikeouts per nine. It ended up like completely like creating a bimodal distribution of pitching of stuff. Um, so it did literally boost the stuff, but you might be right. The mechanic might actually be you lose pitches, so your stuff comes down, then you boost it up to try to compensate. And if you don't get it right, then you over boost. Although, to be fair, I've never seen a case where it's under boosted. The other thing we should test is starting pitchers that have two really good pitches and two pretty bad pitches, and starting pitchers that have like three average pitches and see if they boost differently in the bullpen. That would be interesting because that would also help maybe address your scenario too, Clay Dog. That would be an interesting future experiment. See, Kaki Santa wants to get to the takeaways. Okay, we'll get to the takeaways. But so part of that though is average starter one is in the bullpen here. So on the control team. So on the control team, average starter one is not the one with the crazy strikeouts per walk ratio. So these are coin flip pitchers who are getting average numbers of strikeouts, but because their control is so insane, their strikeout per walk ratio is 39. Now, I think the difference here is it just takes a few walks when your ratio is this high to crush your ratio. So this is all just coin flips, I think. And this 39 strikeout per walk guy just had more coin flips go their way for walks. Peacock sounds like something unspeakable happening in San Diego. All right, let's look at the team stats. This is what's going to help us get our insights that Kayaking Santa's been asking about here. Okay, so batting stats, and we want to focus on the batting teams here. Runs scored. Okay, it did play out. Team BABIP scored way more runs than anyone else. And Void K actually is tied with Power, almost tied with Power for. It didn't say not interested. Okay, so this is interesting. So, like I said, to answer your question, contact is more important than power in 1963 in generating runs, which is the purpose of offense, right? Is to generate runs. But if that power comes from, if that contact comes from a void K, then it's on par with power. But if that contact comes from BABIP, that's where you're getting your separation. So if I were to say when you're doing your roster builds, it's almost like going back to early cycle, except power is nerfed. So personally, I'm gonna be looking for contact from BABIP first and foremost. And then I'm going to be looking for contact from a void K or power second. And then I'm going to be looking for I last. And even in terms of like, what do I want to go with my BABIP? I want power void K, not I. Whereas like in 2023, I'm looking for power first. And what do I want to go with my power? I want I. And so this is where like there's been a bunch of perfect cards lately that came out that have high contact, high power, and low I. There's that 102 center fielder. There's the Heine Zimmerman. That 1 or 2 center is like Hines. What's his name? Charlie Hines. He's got high contact, high power, low eye. Zimmerman has high contact, high power, lower eye. So among the perfect cards, for example, like those are the profiles I think that would work better um, in 63. Yeah, Claydog, I agree with you. Contact power is the play. Yeah. Claydog went heavy on power. All your rosters might have to rethink it all. Now, but don't get me wrong. Like this is an indicator, right? Uh, you might still be right to go with all power, but this is to me, this is saying if you go all power, you're going to score fewer runs than a team that goes all BABIP contact, right? I mean, in this case, you would score 150 runs less across the season. And if you're to go BABIP power versus power I, that gap is going to increase because I is producing fewer runs. So yeah, so that's my takeaway there. Yeah, Max, I mean, you should still do what you want, what you think is right. I'm just going to go off of this data though. I'm going to go BABIP power because that's what this data is suggesting. I mean, they're getting way more walks, but they're getting way fewer runs. So, and to me, what matters in a game is runs scored and runs given up. And that's why I think experiments like this are important because if you look at box scores, you might look at like, for example, you might look at the TI team and like, oh, they're getting tons of base runners. Their on base percentage is insane. But in the end, I care about runs scored versus runs given up. And so for me, I is last. Now, on the pitching side, it's much tighter. Um, but we need to look at the pitching stats. So on the pitching side, if you look at the pitching stats, I think earned runs is the equivalent of runs for the banking. It's like, okay, to win games, you need to score more runs and give up fewer runs. And earned runs takes the fielding out of the equation. And even if you don't take fielding out of the equation, just go by runs, it's still the same story. PBABIP is giving up the fewest runs, actually by a pretty healthy margin. Now it gets pretty tight in the tail end here because um, the difference in movement and control is not that great. But I mean, it's pretty stark. PBABIP is by far the lowest ERA, the fewest earned runs, and the fewest runs. Stuff is second, and that's a difference. In 1984 was Stuff first, and then PBABIP. Now, what's a little concerning to me is how different this is from the conventional wisdom, at least early cycle, was control movement because raw movement in this case is home run suppression. Although I know we have seen a lot more streamers in particular advocating for stuff more recently in the cycle in perfect team, and that is what we saw in the 84 simulation. This stuff was very important. um yeah, Clara says even on in baseball reference walks is down 10%. Yeah. So it's a nerfed trait for sure. Clara says, I'm thinking of my gold roster in particular where I managed to snag a lot of high power combis, but their BABIP is not quite so high. Might want to hedge my bets and replace a player or two. Yeah, this is making me think of like going back to early cycle choices like Sano and Oh, who's that outfielder in bronze that I liked so much early cycle? Tom Brown, crazy high BABIP. Dan Pasqua. Um, if you go down to iron, I think like Nicky Saski, I think was like that. Yeah, Max, I wouldn't say that stuff is more important because of power creep. Because to me, power creep is just general increase. I think stuff is more important because the mix within the power creep has changed. Like your best pitchers are no longer your Tewksbury's and your Consuegras and guys who had like 30 stuff. Like I would even say it's power. I think it's power shift. There's been a huge shift towards more stuff. Yeah, exactly, K-Dog. That's that. Yeah, right. That's I think. Yeah, I think you just said what I was trying to say. That it's the higher stuff on pitchers and the lower K rate on the big bats. Exactly. So to me, power creep is like everything increases, but in the same way. I think this is a power shift. It's a power shift in more stuff in the pitchers and away from avoid K. Kaiki Santa just wants the answers. So yeah, Kaiki Santa. I would say for batters, it's pretty clear that BABIP is way more important than in 23. Oh yeah, no, Kaiki, no. I'm just so no. I'm not upset or anything. I just think it's funny that you're like, what's the answer? So it is BABIP, and then second power, and then third eye in that order. I would say. So Kaiki Santa, here's the thing. I'll put up the screenshots, but just look at the attributes we uh we asked for in the form, right? So the answer basically is you look at the on the pitching, you look at the earn run. BABIP is most important. Stuff is second. Then you got to jump down here to movement, which is slightly more important than control. On the batters, you need to look here at the run scored, right? BABIP. I'll put a summary in Discord for you. Right, she's Santa. I will put a summary in the Discord for you because I can completely identify with trying to figure this out while taking care of a baby. Okay, but look, I think the takeaway is there is definitely a story here. It's very clear. All right, let me try to summarize. Crefton can't even take care of himself. All right, so for batters, so I think that's pretty clear on the batting side. On the pitching side, much less differentiation. EBABIP, then stuff, then HRA. I think, but the differences on the pitching side are small enough. I'm going for like flatter profiles, but favoring PBABIP and stuff. Right, like on the batting side, on the batting side, I'm okay going BABIP power, and then like I don't really care about I, like the Heine Zimmerman or. But on the pitching side, I don't I think these are so close that I don't want to give up on any of them. I don't want a low control pitcher. I don't want a low home run suppression pitcher. I think I'm really looking for relatively flat profiles. Of course, flat high, not flat low. Relatively flat profiles, but if there's going to be a peak, I want the peak to be in PBABIP or stuff. Now, Claydog, this model doesn't factor defense at all, so don't go there yet. But this is super fun. Like, I didn't think the results would be this clear. And again, this is part of the benefit of getting away from using standings, right? We're looking at actual runs scored and actual runs given up. And and like believe me, as an OPS guy and a whip guy, it's really hard for me to say those are not the right metrics. But if you're looking at how your team is going to do in a tournament or a league, what matters? All that matters is how do you outscore your opponent? And so, as hard as it is for me to say this, it's runs scored for the offense, and it's runs given up by the pitching teams. And when you boil it down to that, like these are the attributes that matter in this order. Okay, let's give away some packs. I'm super psyched about how this simulation went. And I think it went well enough and cleanly enough that we can like package this and ship it for every PTCS, every theme week. And I'm going to create this average league and set it up as soon as a new game comes out, and we'll have a week of sims to just figure out the new game engine. Yeah, no problem, Kaisen. I'm just kidding around with you, by the way. I'm just busting your chops. All right, so let me add. Yeah, Claydog, absolutely. Did not take patience. We were just joking around. Okay, but here's the thing. Like, I mean, who knows what's going to happen between now and March? But if we're still doing this, if we're all still hanging out together at nights, I can't wait to unwrap the new game, run it through these experiments, and be able to be the among the first ones to say it was PBABIP in 24. It was control and home run suppression early in 25, and it was stuff late in 25. Like to be able to have an early answer in 26 will be awesome. All right, so here are the guesses now with names on them. Which team is going to lead in ERA? Which pitching team? And that team was Team PBABIP. And only Deli Sports had that right. So Deli Sports. I don't even think Deli Sports is in the chat right now. So congratulations, Deli Sports. Okay, the next question is which team will have the second lowest ERA? That team was Team Stuff, which no one guessed. Oh, wait a second. Did I do the form wrong? I did do the form wrong. I didn't. I forgot to change the form to say BABIP control and avoid K control. So I'm just going to have to give credit for control. And the team with the most runs scored is a control team. And so that's Kayaking Santa. Now, so that's first and second place, but let's keep going because this is interesting. Which team will then be second place? Second place, if control is lumped together, was power. So that would have been Max and Deli Sports. Okay, now we get into the real nitty gritty here, the numerical questions. This is where the fun usually is. Let's bring it all in here. Okay, so Deli Sports is first. Nailed that PBABIP question. And then Kaiki Santa got contact as the most important batting attribute. Okay. Power was the second most important batting attribute. Okay. What will be the ERA of the boosted pitching team with the lowest ERA? It was 1.69. No one even was close, but the closest was our new follower, Roche Voisine. I don't know how to pronounce that, but great guess there. 2.8 was the closest. Yeah, well, it's with it's a team with God PBABIP against the league of average batters. So 1.6 is very low, but in all the way also in a pitching favoring environment, right? So very low, but yeah. Yeah, great guess to go that low. But still not low enough, right? That these are the areas where I think Smiley Face Jane somehow figures out how to push the envelope of what's a low guess. And like 2.8 is a low guess, but like 2.0 is an even lower guess. What will be the ERA with the worst ERA? Again, it's 1963 and it's you still have a boosted attribute. And so the worst ERA was a 2.4. And no one was close there. Deli Sports was closer with 4. So I think everyone's just underestimating how much it helps you to have a 550 pitching attribute and to be in a relatively low offense run environment in 63. How many runs scored by the boosted band team with the most runs scored? And that was 1249. And so 1500 was the number for 84, but we're way down. And so Max was the closest there with 1022. And this is hard because, like Claydog said, right? The numbers are like, you know, 10% different if you look at BREF. Well, I think what you have to factor in, the reason we do the simulation is when you compound that over a season and across a team, you end up almost 500 runs down. Well, we actually ended 300 runs down, but like Max was able to kind of see that. And, we had low guesses here too that are closer. Like Claydog is, not that far with 919, right? So eight per. Oh, actually, I take it back. Deli Sports was almost on the money. Deli Sports guessed 1296. Holy cow, Deli Sports. So Deli Sports put in an equation here. 8 runs per game times 160 is 1296. The answer was 1249. So man, Deli Sports on the money. What a guess. Holy cow. That is a sick guess. Yeah, they showed their math. Full credit. Amazing. Hey, buenos dias, Marbeck. Welcome in. We are testing out the run environment for PTCS, which is 1963, and we're trying to figure out how to build our rosters better. Okay, the last question was how many home runs by the league leader in home runs? And I should have said, I should have specified whether I was looking for a team or a player. I meant the player, and it was not clear to people. I'm glad it was the last question because that would have been a terrible way to win or lose. I probably would have had to throw it out, and then someone who was really close would be like justifiably upset. Um, I think 64 was the league leader. 65. So our new follower Roche was closest there. But let's give credit to the team guesses too. I will look up the team guess. Yeah, Claydog, I think I had the same mistake, same lack of clarity last night too. And you think I would have learned from it. Not last night, but Tuesday night. Tuesday night, sorry, Tuesday night. No, yeah, it's the same wording, Claydog. It's the same exact problem. I didn't specify whether I'm looking for a player or a team total. So the team total was 505, in which case Clay was the closest, but still under guessed. But yeah, man, Deli Sports killing it on the guesses, and our new follower too, Roche, pretty good on the guesses. But Deli Sports had a big insight that PBABIP would be important on the pitching side, and Kayaking Santa realizing that control was going to carry the day on the batting side. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, I learned a ton from doing this. This is awesome. I could not be more pleased with how clear the results were too. And it's definitely going to influence how I build my rosters. Now that said, like this is the problem though, right? When you get to tournament environment, there's just so much noise that whether we build our rosters according to this data or whether we build our rosters according to, the 2024, whatever, the league settings are for perfect league, there's so many variables like our opponent and what they're doing and small sample sizes. 9 games is still a small sample size. I could go 0 for 6 and I still won't know whether I made the right decisions in following this experimental data or following, the OOTP 25 shape, right? Like on batting, that would be, or on pitching, that'd be control and home run suppression. But I'm a big fan of being um, decision oriented and not outcome oriented. If I go 0 for 6, that's not an indictment on whether I made the right decision. The question is, did I make the right decision based on the best available information? And this simulation for me is my best available information. So I'm making the right decision if I base my decisions based on that. If I go 0 for 6, I'm not going to suddenly become an outcome oriented person. I'm still going to say, I made the best decisions with the best information I had. Claydog says, honestly, after seeing this sim, I wonder if the combis I have with higher BABIP are a better play. Also, if I would have time to level up Sims if I bought him now. Yeah, I mean, I leave it up to everyone individually to decide how much weight they want to put into this simulation. I mean, it's fully transparent, right? You know how I did it. You know what settings I used. You know what the strengths and weaknesses of this approach are. And so, you can make your own fully informed decision of whether or not to look at this information, how much weight to put on it. Um, I'm going to go with what we saw here. To me, it was pretty convincing. But again, I'm not going to look at whether I win or lose using this to say this was wrong or right. I'm going to say no. I had good information. I used it to inform my decisions. The rest is up to the AI and the RNG, and I'm going to hope for the best. Especially if I run to like all combi teams because I don't have a ton of combis. I'm definitely not going to say, "Oh, I made the wrong decision. Follow this information." I'll just say, "Hey, it probably still gave me a better fighting chance than I would have, following what I've been doing in the 23 run or 24 run environment." So yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. I'll put it up in the Discord, especially for kayaking Santa. Um, but yeah, to me, it's convincing. I'm gonna roster build based on this. And if you don't follow it, I won't think any less of you. You probably have other information that you're going to follow. But as long as you're being decision oriented and not outcome oriented, like more power to you. All right, now where are we going to raid into? Because Max is not streaming, and oh wait, Max is streaming. Wait, what? Max is streaming? Max, I thought you were in Vegas tonight. What? What is happening? Oh, next week. Oh, I almost rated someone else because I thought you were in Vegas this week. Okay. All right, we are streaming into Max. Awesome. And I almost got you to 1 a.m., which I think you said helps you, right? So I hope that was helpful. I did look at the schedule, but then I thought you said I'm in Vegas today. I'm in Vegas Thursday and Friday, maybe Friday. I was like, oh, okay. You were too results oriented. I'm rating into some random Japanese something. Actually, Claydog, you're kind of close because who I would have rated you into if Max were not streaming tonight is Sarah Bridgewater, who is now she's Canadian and she does solo bike trips and streams them. And right now, she happens to be doing a solo bike trip in Japan. So that's where I would have gone. But Max, let's watch that. I will give her a shout out though. She does do a pretty good stream. Sarah Bridgewater. Yeah, the last time I saw her was actually Sensei Martian, who is the American guy who was hiking, walking across Japan. He rated into her, and she does such a good stream. I was like, oh, I'm going to follow Sarah Bridgewater, and she was doing a bike tour. I want to say like maybe it was Spain or maybe the UK, from Canada, and then I just happened to notice that she was streaming from Japan now. Um, But yeah, we'll raid into Max. Maybe we'll raid into Sarah this weekend because there's no Ophi this weekend and there's no Max. Maybe we'll raid into Sarah if she's still in Japan. That was really funny, Clay. Oh, Kaiki Santa is back. Yeah, so Kaiki Santa. The main takeaways. Let me put the stats back up. Right. So, all right, Max. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to wrap it up for Kayaking Santa since he's able to pay attention now. So on the offensive side, all I care about is runs scored, right? I just need to score more runs than the other team. So I care about runs scored and runs given up. I was proud of that. Yeah, it was really good. Oh, I've never gone wrong. You've never gone with my Rex. Oh, thank you for that, Clay Dog. I appreciate that. Um, So, Hacking Santa, on the run score side, the BABIP team, this is maximum contact from BABIP. They scored 150 more runs than any other team. So, to me, that's by far the most effective offensive tool is contact through BABIP. Now that contact through avoid K and the power team scored about the second most runs, about the same amount. I would say they're equivalent. And then the I was the worst. Now, if all you care about is how many runs your offense scores, and I don't know why you would care about anything else because that's what determines if you win or lose games, right? I'm going I'm going contact through BABIP, or basically contact, power second, and then I last. And so the examples I gave were like the Heine Zimmerman card, the I forget his first name, but Charlie Hines maybe, center fielder, his card. There's several cards that have that profile. Now on the pitching side, the results are a little more compressed. There's not as much differentiation. So I'm going to be looking for flat profiles, but let me look at. Sorry, we have to switch to pitching stats now. On the pitching side, like the runs given up, right? Or earned run average is another good one to look at. Okay. I'm looking for a flat profile, but I'm going to favor flat profile because I don't want any of these to be bad. They're all close enough that I don't want any of them to be bad. But I want BABIP first, stuff second, movement and control third. But I don't want any of them to be terrible. So I'm really looking for a lot flatter profiles, maybe than I do in the modern day PT run environment. Yeah, I agree, Claydog. You don't want to give up HRA, but I think the environment is helping with that. So I'm not going to go with like any 50 HRA pitchers, but I might go with a 70 or 80 in a silver, which I might not normally do. But yeah, I think it's a lot less compelling on the pitching side. I do think the batting results are very compelling. So yeah, I'm not going to be going with like any 50 control pitchers or 50 HRA pitchers. I'm going to be much more in favor of like the Gidry, not the Perfecto Gidry, but the was it a silver or uh bronze Gidry where everything was like 80? I'm going to go for that and I'm not going to go for these profiles that were like the early PT25 where it's like high contact or high control, high HRA, terrible BABIP. I'm not picking those cards for this tournament. I want a flatter profile than that. And I'm definitely not taking Nate Cornejo with his like 10 stuff. Right. And I'm not taking, I don't know, who are the good pitchers with the super low BABIP? I'm not taking those. Yeah, and Clayton, I would have no problem with taking high stuff cards because stuff is a very close second to PBABIP here. Um, because to me that's like like saying, okay, I'm going to take high. I would say super high stuff pitchers are fine as long as they're not terrible in anything else because this does look like everything's a little important. I don't think there's anything that's not important. That's right. Yeah, Clay Dog. It's a trade off you can make. Exactly. So anyway, Kayak and Santa, I hope that you feel caught up now. The takeaways are much more compelling on the batting side, but the pitching side is still going to change the way I probably would have picked my rosters. Okay, awesome, Kayak and Santa. All right, so with that, let's go right into Max. All right, thanks for hanging out, guys, and thank you for participating in the chat. It's always a lot more fun when the chat's active. Yeah, Max, are you gonna ride a bike for us?